Hi, this is Caleb with A Safe Landing Counseling Services. This is a Christian perspective in counseling. So I'm starting a new series. This series is on reclaiming your authority as a husband. And where I really want to start is where husbands lose their authority. This oftentimes occurs in a concept that I call placation. And really what placating is appeasement. That is giving up energy, time, and effort to make peace, to make somebody else happy. And even at the risk of giving up principle, giving up beliefs and morality, just to keep everything steady or even keel or don't rock the boat, those kinds of terms. This is absolutely devastating to a marriage because sooner or later, the man loses heart. And when he loses heart, he loses identity, and he'll do whatever the task calls of him, but what he won't do is pursue, and that's what he was meant to do. Placation is the breaking down of a man's identity because of fear, and it becomes the cutting out of his heart that he no longer has something to offer his wife, offer his family, or even offer God. And so this is where we want to start this process, start the series is, men, know your value and know your identity. You do have an important placement in your marriage, an important placement in your family, and that's where we're going to go after. All right, so it's hard. It's hard carrying a full heart. It's hard carrying desire. It's hard carrying that with the responsibility of a family. I know. Every day I'm stepping out and I'm wondering, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I giving my family enough? Am I giving my wife enough? And of course I'm not. How could I? I wasn't meant to give them everything. However, I also know that if I give up my heart in the process, I lose much more than just myself. I lose my family. My family loses their identity. My wife loses her identity in the process. So the important steps of becoming a man who's engaged in his marriage is knowing your fear response. Am I giving up elements of my heart because I'm afraid of how other people will respond, and it's just too hard, it's too much effort to take on, to carry desires of my wife, to carry desires of my children? If that at all sounds like you, this is where you're stepping into that placating mindset or that appeasement, where you're giving up resource and energy just to make everybody else happy, but you have no heart in the end. You have no principle in the end because it's just about them. And honestly, if you just do family and you don't have things to go after, which family is a great thing to go after, but if you just do that, you're not necessarily stepping into the fullness of God's calling in your life. And when we have identity, it comes directly from stepping into our title as son, in a sonship under God, and him saying, this is what I want you to rule over with gentleness, with kindness, with love, with goodness. We as men are called to rule over things with love, gentleness, kindness, and goodness. And we should look just like Christ. We should look just like Jesus in the process. If we're not aiming towards that, then the question is, what are we doing? And what is our identity really? Doesn't sound like a son of a great king. It sounds like somebody who's just getting stepped on. If you dread coming home, if you dread engaging the marriage, engaging the family, that's a huge indicator that you're stepping into this appeasement. The way we can deal with dread is we can say, okay, I need to be so intentional with my time and with my energy and with my effort. What do I want to see from my wife? I don't want to just have a family. I want to grow a family. Again, I was going back to that concept of if we're just having a family, we're not really living in what God wants for us. To grow a family so that they could be producers and not consumers, that would be where God wants us to be. He wants us to teach and to train and to lead and to delegate All of those concepts come into marriage. But with appeasal and with placation, there's no teaching, training, and pushing and pursuing anything. It actually starts to fall apart. And so the first thing that we need to do is to be aware of our fear response. Am I placating? Am I appeasing just so that we have peace and we don't rock the boat? Let's just get through life. Let's get through the 18 years of raising a child. Let's get through whatever it is so that we can have peace. If that mindset comes up and you can identify it, then that's a notification that the placation and appeasement are there, and they are actually going to erode aspects of the marriage, aspects of the family. Okay, the steps forward. Become aware. Become aware that when I feel like I'm giving up my heart, when I don't feel a drive, when I feel apathetic, or I want to leave the house and I want to disengage. Those two things, apathy or disengagement. When I feel those things, that's probably signs of placation and appeasement. And if that's the case, I've given up my authority. And it's a fear response. That's a fear response. Actually be intentional with your time, not just responding to some stimuli. Oh no, I want peace. Say, how do I have peace? How can I cultivate it? Not, okay, whatever it takes to get peace. It's how do I cultivate a whole environment of moving forward and growing and maturing. How do I challenge my wife to tell her, you know what, I appreciate your input. I appreciate what you're saying and what you're doing. I'm going to make this decision, and it's going to include everything you say, but it may not be the decision that you want. I'm going to have a heart for you and for the children and for the people around me. Now that's identity for a man. That's what you've been called into as men. I hope you like this series. Let me know if there's more things that you want to look at as I continue on to the series of reclaiming your marriage as a husband. Let us know how these videos are impacting you. Like and subscribe, and we'll keep them coming.